Hi everybody, this is Michael Davis here at Hipbone Music. I had the very good fortune of playing with the great Nick Marchione a few years back on a show called Memphis that went on to win a Tony Award. A lot of fun, great music, great band, great cast. It was really a great experience. Perhaps the greatest experience that came out of that was learning the power of the cha, if you will, the art of the cha. Today we spent a good portion of the afternoon shooting a video for our Hipbone U series in which Nick talks about lead trumpet playing, how he approaches playing on the Vanguard Jazz Orchestra and various other ensembles that he plays with. We decided to take a little bit of a turn, if you will, and have him share some of his thoughts about the cha, the history of the cha, different aspects of the cha, different types of chas perhaps. But I'm going to turn it over to Nick now for a very informative view of the art of the cha.
Hello, everyone, and thank you to Mike for that great introduction. I'm very flattered. We're not here today to discuss the ABCs or the 1, 2, 3s. We're here to discuss the cha and its implications on lead trumpet players, recorded music, current music, future music, and the downfall of society. So, the cha, for those of us that don't know, I can really trace its roots back to Maynard Ferguson and Conrad Gazzo. Being a lead player as I am, and in this case maybe a purist, I consider Conrad to be the lead player cha man. Now, before we go any further with this, let's explain what a cha is. For us trumpet players, we all understand what a kiss-off is, which is when we hold a note, and at the very end of the note, as opposed to stop it with our air or with our tongue, we pull the horn away from our face with air still going through our lips, and you get a desired effect, meaning so that would be a kiss-off. Now, a cha is basically a very similar sound, except we stop the note and yet keep that same compression in our throat and in our mouth and in our diaphragm, and then, at a desired result, release that pressure to give the how, if you will. That might sound something like this. So, we see how it's a very similar sound, but a different result. And honestly, that's what we're going for here. Now, when I say Maynard as well was part of this movement, I'm really thinking about Conrad being the lead player on such great recordings through the Capitol years with Frank Sinatra. And Maynard, I consider, yes, he did do a lot of studio time in the 50s. However, I always consider Maynard, in my mind, he is a front man, a great player, a great trumpet player, one that will never come again. However, I consider him a front man. Conrad Gazzo was really a studio lead trumpet player and a fantastic player. So when we think of such recordings as Frank singing Saturday Night's the Loneliest Night of the Week and Conrad does a few of those chas at the end of the chart, it's became a thing, a style, a stylistic approach, just like falls or shakes or doits into the note or breath releases. It's just another tool we can add to the arsenal of lead trumpet playing. So maybe now is a good time to talk about how I practice these things. Oftentimes with my friends in New York, fellow great professional trumpet players, I always tease them in high school and college. They were busy practicing stable mates or giant steps or patterns of playing jazz and being, for lack of a better term, good musicians. I was practicing how to play a cha because as a lead player, it was just something that fascinated me. So let's just take major scales. We all know major scales. They're in the Clark book. You got to play them. It's just part of the whole thing. It sucks, but we have to do it. But so what I would do is something like, let's pick G major scale, a concert F, if you will. And we just go, da, 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 da. So we can go. right? That was just a breath release. I didn't stop it with my tongue. We can stop it with our, we can do whatever we want to do. However, let's put a kiss off on that note. Okay, but that sounds a little labored, in my opinion. So let's apply that same principle where we get to the G on top of the staff, we stop the note with our tongue, but we keep the intensity in our diaphragm, in our throat, and in our mouth. And we'll put a cha on that. Different result. I think it becomes a taste thing, but regardless, it's something to strive for. And I do that in all 12 keys. I've practiced it in minor scales, both harmonic, jazz minor, the bebop scale, blues scale, whatever, pentatonic scale, whatever scale you like, whatever pattern you like. It's fun. Or we could take something as classic as, let's say, Clifford Brown's Joy Spring solo, if you wanted to do something like that. And just add it, just to, not that you can improve on Clifford's solo, but you're expressing your own vibe through Clifford's music. So let's say we'll play that a little, just a few bars. So something like that, I mean, Clifford didn't do it, but that might be something you're into, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. So now I want to, in my opinion, there's really 3 classifications of chas. There's the musical version, which is something like Conrad did in Saturday Nights and Lonely Sunday Week, which I referenced earlier, where Frank sings in a 2-bar break at the end. He sings concerty, Saturday night is the loneliest night of the week, and then the band goes one bop 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 bop, and Conrad goes bop bop cha bop bop cha bop. I find that very musical. I find that a good addition to the piece, meaning he goes, Saturday night is the loneliest night. Now, I find that, personally, quite musical. Others would disagree. We call them string players. So that's the first category. The second category is sending a message. I've done this one many times myself. This one involves, it could be positive or negative. Let's say there's a leader up front, and he's not a trumpet player. He's not a lead player. He doesn't understand that calling all these tunes with all these ledger lines back to back to back might hurt us and physically injure us later on down the line, or tomorrow we have a callus, or we have a rip or a sore, or we're just on the bathroom all day. I mean, it's really could be a very unpleasant thing. So this kind of cha I consider like, let's say you're playing a piece of music you really enjoy, like Buddy Rich's You Gotta Try. It was a Sam Inesco composition. Yes, he wrote it for Buddy and for Basie, but it was originally for Buddy first, I believe. And let's say you want to go, I don't know, at the very end of the Shao chorus. You can go... and it goes into a drum solo. That's, hey, it's an effect, and it's actually a pretty musical one, in my opinion. Then, in the same category, there's you're sending a message. Let's say it's a chart you hate. I don't know, like, let's say The Chicken. A chart we all enjoy listening to Jocko play with his big band, but as a lead player, we might not want to endure ourselves. Well, in a situation like that, I employ the cha as much as possible to send a message of, I think this chart sucks, and maybe I don't want to waste my chops playing this. So maybe you could do something like, I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas at this point, really, but... stuff like that. I mean, just, really, it's all experimentation. Just anywhere you feel it, just trial and error, really, just like anything else in life. Just like when you're baking goods and stuff, it's just trial and error. Maybe more sugar, more cha, less cha. You don't know until you try. And the third category that I want to talk about is the inappropriate, unmusical cha. For all intents and purposes, this does not exist. So really, there's only two categories. The musical one and the I'm going to make a statement, whether it's I dig this music or I want you to take this gig and shove it up your hoo-ha and give me my check cha. Very distinct things, but I think very important at the end. So, again, just always keep in mind, I mean, the Conrad Gazzo Maynard cha, and I will admit I've been a little remiss in that I haven't played a Maynard cha yet. I mean, if we pick a tune like Chameleon, fantastic piece of music by Herbie Hancock. The original recording from the 70s featured one of my a trumpet player playing lead, Lynn Nicholson. And let's say you can do something like this at the beginning of the chart, you know. You know, I mean, it really becomes down to, like, how long do you want to do it? You know, do you want to wait that long, or do you want the melody to come in? Do you want it right away? Do you want like a quick little what was that, or do you want like the groove to start and then and then people freak out? It's really independent on what you feel musically you want to give, and it affects the audience. Better yet, it affects the rest of the band. I've never gotten a bigger compliment personally on a cha than when I'm playing lead trumpet in a big band and in the middle of a chart I place a cha going into a perfect example. Actually, a wonderful piece of music, Pumpkinette, Bob Florence chart. Wonderful piece of music, rest in peace. And there's a high concert D in the entire band, and it goes into a 8-bar break for a piano solo going into the rhythm section, coming in and having a very nice piano solo. I found that placing a cha on that note on beat 4 on that high concert D and waiting several beats while the piano player is playing yields maximum effect from what I call the domino effect of eye rolls from the saxophone section. So the biggest compliment I can get is when I get all 5 saxophone players to turn around and go. Personally, that's when the cha is at its maximum effect. I'll play that phrase for you, and then I will give you a few YouTube references before I sign off. So we'll play the last 4 bars of said piece. Ha! Chikachi. We'll just play the last 4 bars of that phrase. So that was about maybe 2 bars in, but that generally gets the effect that I'm looking for. If you're interested in more of these chas from Nick Marchione, you might want to reference YouTube. There is the 3 nationally televised chas that I am very proud of. The first would be in 2010 at the Tony Awards with Memphis the Musical, which won the Tony Award for Best Musical, which, let's be honest, in no short part was from said cha. In 2011, I joined the cast of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying with Harry Potter, and we played David Letterman, and there was a very nice cha in that, but I think in the swing era that I'm accustomed to, the cha at the Tony Awards of 2011, where, again, said Harry Potter performed, you'll hear a very nice cha in the recapitulation towards the end. And I hope this has been very informative. If there are any questions, please feel free to email me at michaeldavis.com. Thank you very much.